Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Back to the City. Today I have Nej and Ed from Loser Magnet, one half of Loser Magnet. And we're going to take a journey through and celebrate effectively the 1-year anniversary of Empty Year, the EP that came out back in March 2022. Also, we'll say a little bit about Big Mouth, which is a single, like a standalone song that you've put out in the meantime with a really fun music video. Let's start with that, actually.
Cool.
So here we are, interspersed with the Big Mouth music video. This is a song that, though it came out after Empty Year, it existed in a prior band. Yep, Shadow Party.
It
Shadow
did.
Party?
Yeah. When I first moved to Minnesota, I moved here from Atlanta. I just kind of met a few people kind of randomly. The band came together really accidentally, and we started a Shadow Party, and we were going for a few years. The pandemic hit, and it was a weird time for everyone in the world, and especially a weird time for a band. We ended up, our drummer ended up moving to playing guitar. Our bass player moved to playing synth. We got a new bass player, and we needed a drummer, so that's how we met Ed.
How did you meet Ed?
Ed came in, another member of our band played in another band with Ed. It was, you know, the large polyamorous Minneapolis music scene where many of us play in many different projects, many different people, and then you need a drummer, and you're like, I know a drummer, so.
What a beautiful ecosystem.
Yeah, and so I just feel like that was the best thing that could have come out of the pandemic and everything that happened is out of the ashes of Shadow Party. Sam, our bass player, reached out to me and told me that he had missed playing music, and shows were starting to open up again, and it was just fantastic to be in this kind of new thriving Minneapolis music scene with our masks on and just making it through. And I asked Ed to come back. He was just great. I think the reason Ed stuck with me was because of the song Cinnamon, actually.
Oh, really?
Cinnamon is done in a really weird time signature.
It is.
I didn't do it on purpose, but I wrote the verses in 6/4 and the chorus in 4/4, and I kind of freely go back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
So it was actually, this kind of goes with Big Mouth, but Big Mouth was a Shadow Party song, and I was really hoping that Cinnamon was going to be a Shadow Party song, and it ended up like we couldn't figure out the song as a band. It was just way too difficult to put all the pieces together.
Because
in a
you
time
unintentionally had these interesting time signatures and shifts within the song between time signatures, unintentionally.
Yeah.
That's just where the song was leading you.
Yeah, so it was just really hard for the whole band to put together, and Sam ended up like with a new project sitting down and figuring out a good bass part, and we ended up with a guitar player who figured out a way to play lead in this very strange time signature, and we got it put together. But I think that was the moment that I really knew that like I wanted to play in a band with Ed. Like I'm so happy that I found Ed, and so,
Ed was excited to take this song and turn it into, make it Technicolor. To use Ed's method.
Yeah, and so when we started Loser Magnet, Ed and Sam were like, Big Mouth was such a good song, we have to bring it back. And I was so happy that we had done Cinnamon that I was like, absolutely. I was not totally on board with bringing Big Mouth back. I was like, we did it. We already played that song with another band. We don't need to bring it back. And they were like, no, we have to do it. And I'm really glad they did, because this band made that song really incredible, and we got to have this cool music video, and I'm so excited. And we got a bunch of airplay on The Current, and and we've gotten some cool opportunities just for people who have heard us on the radio and reached out to us. So I'm really grateful that we got to do that, and I'm glad we get to have part 2 and have Cinnamon come out next. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So before we started filming, Ed had the metaphor receiving the original song from Nej, and that being like black and white photo, and then Ed's task, and maybe the task of the band, is to add color to that, not to interfere with the frame or try and tell a different story or paint a different picture, but just to add color. Could you, focusing on Big Mouth, it's an interesting case in point because it existed as a recorded song with the previous band?
I believe we did record it. I think it was on.
Did I record a version
You would
of
have,
that
because
song?
it would have been on that album. That song came when you came to the band, so that song didn't exist before you were in the band.
So what I think was happening is when I was initially joining Shadow Party, before I even joined the band, it was like, hey, can you come lay down some drums on these songs, you know, kind of like session drummer. So I'd only met one guy from Shadow Party. I hadn't met Nej yet. I had an idea in my mind of what Nej looked like, which was nothing like what Nej
Oh my
looks
god,
like.
I have to know what you thought I looked like.
That maybe that's for another day.
Okay.
Another. But so yeah, I just kind of went in and I was hearing these songs and then just kind of turning out drum parts right away. So maybe I wasn't connecting with them in the same way that I connected with the songs actually being a member of a band, more of sorts.
You were like a hired hand, it seemed, perhaps initially.
Yeah.
But then you've soon evolved into Ed.
Can you believe it? Yeah. Well,
The electronic drummer, Ed. ED.
that's me. And I think that the thing is, it's sure that I think I am at the level that I can hear a song, and drums isn't always the most complicated instrument to get through. A lot of times it's just doom, ga, doom, doom, at a different speed or a different dynamic. You know, it's just kind of the rock beat. But there are nuances and ideas and the way that I set up maybe a change from a verse to a chorus that can help with a little development, and especially just back and forth of, you know, Nej saying, oh, maybe I'm looking for a little more this or a little less that, you know, just trying to serve the song as best as I can. And it's probably pretty similar to that initial version, but, you know, I haven't done the A/B test to see really what I did differently. But I do know that the more time I spend with something, I generally feel like the more precise I'm going to get to, I guess, an end goal of making it as good as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You referenced the music video, and I love that. It's kind of like, I've been watching lots of Chaplin recently.
Oh, cool.
And so it seemed kind of Chaplin-esque. And so it's like a silent movie.
Yeah.
So just to isolate the captions in the music video, our main character awakens to a dull, dreary day, is how the narrative opens. Another empty day, another empty year, very on brand. Empty year being the name of the EP, which is his Beyond, of course.
Yeah.
Dragging his feet, the executioner, the main character is an executioner, ventures into the cold, arrives at the Dinsmore laundromat.
Yeah. Right
My-
down the street.
Just right down the street from the TV station. Yeah. My axe. And then by the end of the music video, our main character, the executioner, is playing his axe
Yeah.
with Loser Magnets. Could you say a little bit, could you reflect a little bit on the story of the music video and how it relates to the trajectory of the song?
Yeah, so Joe, our lead guitar player, was kind of the writer. Him and Sam, the bass player, got together and did that. And Sam is really into filming and directing, and that's something that he's been wanting to do. And Joe did like a lot of the set design. That was really their baby. So I'm not entirely sure what the process was for writing it, but I'm gonna give it kind of my best take. Man, this whole thing just started on like a little cartoon that Joe did, and he just had this little idea. He'd like drawn this little executioner, and he was like this, you know, and he drew this. He had this idea, and he drew this little cartoon, and we were just kind of thinking of like the emotion of the song of Big Mouth. Like that was a pandemic song. It was, you know, Hold Me Like the World is Falling Apart, and it wasn't just a pandemic song. It was something that I wrote when, you know, there was riots. You know, there was a lot of turmoil in the city, and
The streets are burning awfully is a lyric.
yeah, it was literally like the gas station right next to the place where the house that we used to practice in was like shut down, and like things were on fire. I lived in downtown St. Paul in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself on the ground floor on 7th Street. You know, I spent a lot of time just kind of hiding out at my friend's house because my building was attached to, you know, like a business, and we spent a lot of time, you know, protesting and building armor, and, you know, my friends were getting hurt and arrested, you know, and
Building literal armor,
yes.
and which puts a new perspective on the final verse, contrast the violence, we're getting harder, polish my armor.
Yeah, I mean, we
So
were
that's literal armor.
we were
that's
literally
being
yeah, like we
constructed
were
and polished.
sewing because I mean, in the protests, people were getting shot. Like people were getting their eyes knocked out. People, you know, my friends have. I mean, like I don't want to name any names or anything, but like, you know, we were all in like these kind of secure group chats and sharing what was happening, and I was like, you know, I can't be out there with everyone. I'm an immunocompromised person, so I was not someone who was able to go out and participate in things as much as I wanted to be. I was really isolated during the entire pandemic, but like one thing I could do was,
Make
you
armor.
know, I could help sew things for people. You know, I could help do things for, you know, I just wanted to help in any way that I could and be there to support people. And you know, I could make you dinner. You know, like it's like how can I help? And
And your experience of that is honored and expressed in the song.
yeah, I mean it's like I don't know, it's something like I take a lot of abstract thoughts and I deal with them, and I almost like it'll sound like I'm talking to a person, but I'm really speaking more to, you know, everyone. And you know,
Well, it provides a concrete setting.
Yeah.
There is there's this kind of informal address.
yeah, it's a personification of you know everything that I think is going on. It's like, how do you address it? You talk to it, you treat it like a person, you
Yeah.
know.
Be with it.
Exactly.
And invite the listener to be with it too. I think it's an interesting and important like intervention culturally that music can make, and you know, if one harnesses it in that way.
Yeah. And I think with the song, it was that same kind of idea of like, you know, you took this really like difficult time that we're all going through, and you're saying like, hey, like we're here, we're together, and we're gonna find a way to get through it. I think that was
Yeah.
the idea with the executioner, is like it's this really dark character, and like he's just trying to get through the day, and it's like no matter what, we're all like, no matter who you are or like what job you're doing or what is going on in your life, you're just trying to get through your day. You know, you go to the laundromat and you shrink your you know, you like shrink your clothes by
executioner.
accident. Yeah, or you know, like, and then the thing that got us through it was music, you know, like my axe, you know, I'll do this, and then we're all together and we're hanging out and having fun, and it's
Both of those things are relatable. The being at the laundromat and oh no, my mask has been shrunk. It's a terrible day. But then I get to go and make some music with my friends.
yeah. And like the never-ending staircase at the end was a tiny little bit. I don't know if that one got caught as much, but he's just going up the stairs for like, it's like 8 sets of stairs that he has to go up
Sisyphus.
to get up to the band practice. And it's yeah. So yeah, I mean it was really fun. It was like a fun, cute project, and I really wanted to step back from it too. It was like I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I get to think of everything, and so it was a challenge for me to be like, no, you guys just handle it, and I'll just not be involved in it. And it was, I mean, they did such a great job. Like I could never have put it together that well. So I was really happy to know that we can do this ourselves too. We did everything ourselves.
What you're saying now reminds me of what you were saying prior to the interview about the white squirrel. The white kind of burps. Edit that bit out in the future time. What you were saying about the White Squirrel residency that you had, where each of the band members took on the task of curating one of the events, but then beyond determining what bands would be playing, there were other artistic flourishes. So could you expand a bit on, so analogous to the way in which suddenly making a music video is this new art project that exists separately from, but in relation to creating the music.
Yeah.
How did something like that play out with constructing your residency in this very artful, collaborative, full band way?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is something that I really like about Loser Magnet. Like, as strong a leader as Nej is, it's not like the Nej show. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much of what each of us bring kind of wholly to the project, WHOLLY. So, you know, Joe, our lead guitar player, is an artist, you know, in a broad sense, be it writing, visual art, musical art. So and he's the I think his musical aspirations are the most on the fringe out of all of us. He likes the noisy. He likes the experimental. So the bands that he brought to the table really brought a sense of what Joe brings to our ensemble.
Excellent. Which bands were those?
He did Ice Climber.
Yep.
And then
Sochi and Coco.
yeah, and he now has like played with Ice Climber. I also have a show coming up with Ice Climber.
As part of Ice Climber.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm filling in with Ice Climber, so I'm really excited. Who else was there? It was Ice Climber, and it wasn't Twincident. It was like, I'm not recalling it.
Yes. The loser magnet memory is not
No, it's
always
not a
one of
good
our
one.
strongest senses, but
It's okay, we're in the
it's
present.
okay.
We're
We can double check it after the fact.
we have
and-
very lively, heartfelt shows.
right.
We don't always remember.
What did each of you choose for your particular nights in the residency? And then there was a video component.
Yeah.
Could you each say what you did for the
Yeah.
residency?
So for my night, I had chosen Crush Scene and Chairman Chair and the Chairman, and I ended up my night got switched. I think there was a COVID issue, so I ended
the
up
band
with
switched.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we had band switch. So I ended up getting Lifestyle Shakes, who I love. So it was still a wonderful evening. Like I'm really glad we got to keep both those bands within our residency
Yeah,
because they're both just fantastic projects, and we're really, really good friends with Lifestyle Shakes. Like we might go on tour with them.
Oh, very
They're
nice.
yeah, we've played a number of shows with them. They're really good friends of ours. So I was glad that they got to still play with us. And yeah,
What was the video component?
I did like old black and white horror films. Or no, I did not. I did old sci-fi. I did like female fronted sci-fi movies, and I don't remember the exact names of them because I went on the National Archives and I found what I could for free. And there was, just giant women with laser beams, and there was like cool 60s outfits, and I brought all these weird lights. Like I had like a pink spotlight back by the drum set, and so like that was all projected behind us, and then I got like a little disco light, and I had the disco light going, and I asked them to turn out all the lights in the bar, like up by the stage, so that pretty much the only lights in the bar were like over by the actual bar, but everything by the stage was just really dark, so it was really spooky, and you could see the video really well. And yeah, it was really fun.
It's like a wonderfully curated experience for the people that attended the show.
Yeah.
Was your intention to achieve that, or what do you think is the relationship, if any, between the footage with those giant women with the laser beams and so on, and the Loser Magnet songs?
So I think for me, the movie idea was more like, kind of like we all got to pick a theme and kind of display, like the idea of the theme was playing in the movies. We all like watch movies all the time. Joe is a really big movie guy. Sam is a really big movie guy. We were all just constantly talking about movies. So I know we all kind of have our genres that we like, and I was trying to think of like, all right, what genres is everyone like? I know Sam's gonna pick a bunch of action movies. Like he picked like what did he pick? Like Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Like Sam was definitely picking these, and so I was kind of like, I wonder if the bands that we pick are going to line up with the movies that we pick. Like mentally, if like the bands we pick like really fit the kind of aesthetic, like if the music will sound good with the movie playing, basically was the idea. Is like I want to play a show, and I want it to be like a Pink Floyd The Wall thing where you look up and like the music and the movie kind of makes sense, and it happened.
It did happen.
So much throughout
Yeah.
our sets. Yeah, like it was just the coolest thing, because it was like, okay, like Crush Scene is like, I don't know, they have kind of like a slightly grungy sound, like slightly poppy, and they were, I mean, they just like, it killed it. It was just so good with the movie, it was just so interesting. And I think Sam was picking kind of heavier bands, and he had these kind of action movies going, and it was just like, yeah, there's these really gory movies going on in the background, and these like, and obviously Joe's night was like really chaotic, and So Joe had a bunch of arty movies on, and I mean, it was just great. It was really interesting. It was another layer to like watching the music where it's already a Tuesday night. It's the middle of the week. The show started at 9 p.m. Like it's the second like event of like, it's not even like the second band. Like there's a whole act that goes on until like 8, and then we play from like 9 to midnight. And it's like, we know that it's late. We know everyone's gonna be zoning out a little bit and kind of like want to have a place to go. And it was just like, it was really like entrancing, because I mean, we're all on our phones constantly. Like I don't even watch TV anymore. I watch TV and I scroll through Instagram and I look at Reddit, it's like,
Totally.
how do I put that into a show? And it's like, okay, you watch the band, you look up, you watch the movie, you watch the, like it's like there's so many things that can grab
And
your
it's
attention.
entrancing.
Yeah, there's like weird lights going on. It's like, I want to make this like so many different things that every ADHD person in this audience can have a really good Tuesday.
It breaks us out of our patterning of, it's looking at the phone and scrolling through when the band is playing is going to be far less appealing.
Yeah.
If there's all of the dopamine hits that I'm going to get from
Exactly,
that in front of me, juxtaposed and artistically juxtaposed with the music. I like that there's the way in which you're talking about it too. There's an opportunity to really celebrate the character and the taste of each band member curator. How did that play out in Ed's instance?
My artistic tilt has always been very much within music. I don't really do visual art or film or that kind of stuff. It's just not something I have experience in. So my night did not have any movie projections.
I thought that I picked yours. Didn't I pick yours?
Nej may have picked movie projections
Maybe
for
yours was
me.
the ones I did the horror, because I remember I downloaded some of the
there you
horror
go.
ones.
Okay.
Because who played? It was Jared Miles.
No,
No, it wasn't.
it was the Envies
The Envies, that's right.
played with us, as well as, in a true lazy me fashion, another one of my bands. So I just stayed on the drum throne for.
You like your bands?
Yeah.
Your bands are
Well,
good.
it was a good variety. That was a band. Well, that's the Backtrack that shared with us, which is it's an organ trio with a bass player. So it's an organ quartet, I guess I would say. And that band commonly does like cocktail jazz before like a wedding set is like our bread and butter. And we just hadn't played gigs in a while, and I like all those guys, and when you have these two wonderful groups of friends, you want everyone to be friends. So I was like, I can't wait to have Brendan meet Nej and Joe meet Mookie and stuff like
Does
that.
everyone look like we're expecting them to look? That whole thing again.
I guess, yeah.
We all fit in the same little singer box.
Yeah, those. I don't know if I look like a rocker or a jazz or R&B or whatever kind of thing I'm supposed to look like, but it
You're
all
supposed
works
to look
out.
like you.
Yeah.
We showed up to, we played this Porch Fest. It was like one of our first shows, and he showed up wearing a Doors hockey jersey.
I thought about wearing it today.
It was, I don't know why, but like Joe and Sam were just like, I can't believe he wore that. I can't believe that's what he chose to wear today. Who owns a Doors hockey jersey?
They sell them at down in the valley. I got it as a birthday gift from my brother. Shout out my brother.
You bought it for him as a birthday gift.
No, he got it for me. Yeah, and it is.
You received that.
It is smaller than I would usually like, especially the idea of a jersey is it's supposed to fit over everything. It's a little smaller, so I guess it works considering I don't commonly wear hockey pads when I'm wearing it. But I also, like, I didn't wear it because I didn't want, like, I thought about wearing a Def Leppard t-shirt as well, or like a Mahavishnu Orchestra hoodie, and I didn't want to be like, oh, let's focus on that name that's on your shirt.
So you put the Doors on there?
Not for the interview, for the gig. I only have so many outfits in the world, and to be fair, the Doors is an influence of our band. Would you agree?
I was like, it is a ridiculous hockey jersey to own. but you know.
Yeah, it's not a hockey
to be
team.
ridiculous.
It's a band.
Yeah, I think like it's also like Sam and I are hockey fans.
Yeah.
So I like have a hockey jersey collection.
It
I
kind
have a bunch of
it kind of looks like a Kings jersey, right?
It does kind of.
And
look
I
like a
guess if I had a
Kings jersey,
team, that would be my team.
Does Joe have a jersey?
No, I mean, Joe's a baseball guy, so I think if he had a jersey,
Mets,
yeah, or it would be
Knicks.
yeah, he likes basketball too. He likes,
I
Yeah.
think that a concept for the new residency is forming sports.
I like it. I think something can be done with that. It's so important to have fully realized ideas, right?
I was a varsity swimmer, so I would make mine like a swim day. Everyone wears their bathing suits.
Joe and I were wrestlers.
Well, we did actually almost do a wrestling themed show. We
Really?
almost did we almost played we wanted to do a photo shoot where all of us dressed up as our own wrestlers.
It's never too late, Nash.
It was gonna be for the physical music. We've
Yeah.
like talked about doing music videos forever. Like we've always had like, yeah, we have this idea, and we never do. So like Big Mouth was a big deal because it was like, cool, we finally did one.
Yeah.
But for physical, we
It's a
were
lot of
gonna
work.
we were gonna like have like a little show in Sam's backyard and invite all of our friends and build a wrestling rink, like with the ropes.
Yeah.
And let everyone come and like pretend to wrestle and film it and just like have that be the video. It's like all of us dressed up as fake pro wrestlers.
I like
That's
that.
really cool.
I don't have a
you'll have
singlet anymore, but they're probably relatively cheap
Get
secondhand.
a new one.
Yeah.
Let's momentarily we'll take a journey through the record Empty Year. I think it's really thematically coherent, so I'm excited for that. But let's give Cinnamon its due first.
Okay.
And you highlighted the interesting time signature and the shift. As I was listening to it, the way in which it struck me was we have Cinnamon, Cinnamon, and then it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, run as fast as you can, and that's just kind of 4.
Yeah,
Is it-
it's actually cinnamon, cinnamon,
Dun, dun.
run as fast as you can. It's almost
Yeah.
easier to think about it. I think.
How do you think about it?
I don't. I just play it. But I told Sam to think about it as 2 3s, like 2 3 4s, like 3 4 3 4, like cinnamon, cinnamon, run as fast as you can. I fell for you like a knife.